Vikram Pawah, thanks very much for talking to us, and hope everything's good with you in Australia. It's amazing how we can connect in from different continents, and just obviously, this whole pandemic has been a very challenging time for the entire car industry and specifically the luxury car market. And just wanted to get your thoughts whilst we are seeing a sharp recovery at the lower end and in the mass volume segments. Clearly, the luxury market seems to be coming back not as aggressively as, let's say, the other segments. So just your thoughts on how is the luxury car market shaping up overall? How do you see it? And specifically for BMW, post whilst we are unlocking.
Hormazd, first of all, always great to connect, even though virtually. It's always good to connect with you, and glad to hear that everything's okay with you and everyone else in the family as well. Okay, talking about 2020, if we look at it, if we break down the first 3 quarters of 2020 and look at how the market has behaved. So if you look at the first quarter, I think the industry faced a big challenge about the BS4 to BS6 transition. I think that was a bigger challenge during the first quarter. Towards the end of the quarter, obviously, the pandemic hit all of us and we went into a lockdown. So the tail end of the quarter almost saw a shutdown of operation. Quarter 2 clearly was a total washout from an operational perspective, because I think most of the country was either locked down or was getting into an unlock phase and then locking down again, because we still were trying to flatten the curve with the COVID situation. So quarter 2 was for us as well, like minimalistic sales basically in our network, because the network was closed. What we are seeing in quarter 3 from July onwards is steady improvement in the sales. So month on month, we are seeing improvement coming through, because as the economy is opening up, as the dealership operations are now back to normal, customers are visiting us either through the contactless experience that we've got or through the traditional channels. We're seeing their sales returning back. And I think now with the quarter 4, with the festive season just around the corner, we expect a really good rebound happening. And I think we're all looking forward to a great festive season. And we are excited because we've got a product launch during this festive season, which keeps us busy. And we are happy to stimulate some demand for the industry as well.
Right. So, Vikram, you spoke about, a lot of more sales through the contactless experience. So just give us a sense on, the digital push. What's the increase you've seen, and how has that really transformed or let's say changed partially? People are shopping for cars. I'm sure initially they do want the test drive and all. But what's been the increase in, let's say, people coming to your digital platforms to, let's say, just shop around?
Yeah, I think this COVID situation, this is a classical example in front of us, Hormazd. We are meeting on a virtual basis, right, and conducting our business still, irrespective of all the travel restrictions and everything else. And I think what happened with COVID was everybody had to adapt and innovate with new methods of communicating and interacting and doing business. So our teams was early in the piece, they put together a fantastic contactless experience for our customers, wherein you can literally buy the car, contact us, we can reach you in a very safe and healthy manner, right? And then you can transact on the car and get the delivery as well without any hassles. Similarly, on the service side, we organized pickups and drop-off, which was also contactless, or you could come and drop a key, and we would ensure that your car is serviced and delivered back to you. So what we're seeing is the uptake of these things during these pandemic time was phenomenally well. Customers adapted to that fairly early. So it clearly shows that there was a latent demand sitting there of the ease of doing business that customers wanted, and we were able to deliver that. And if I talk about how we are interacting today, when we are opening back up with our retail showrooms, we are seeing a very good mix of digital and the traditional channels happening at the same time. So if I talk about, traditionally in the industry, walk-ins used to be the biggest source of inquiries. If you know, we always used to say walk-ins was the biggest source. Now what we are seeing is the digital source is becoming quite prominent as well. And people are happy to, let their details out in a digital sphere because they know the real response times will be similar. And we will reach out and do the face-to-face with them straight after that. So you don't miss that contact either. So you're able to get to the brand, you're able to get to BMW fairly early in the piece of research, and then the BMW can reach out to you at your convenience to make sure that we can deliver all the experience to you the way you like it. So great, I think, transformation for the entire industry and especially for us, because I think we were one of the innovators in the sphere and we've been able to make it very, very successful.
Okay, so good. So looking forward to I think all this is boding well for a festive season. And what is your sense? I mean, do you find that also some of your customers or potential customers are looking for, are considering now car purchase in a more aggressive way? I mean, in certain segments, we've seen that, people are, in a way, they're not spending on other things. They're not spending on travel. They're not spending on international trips, and fundamentally, the only thing they really want to spend on now is a car. Do you see that trend sort of emerging?
I think there is some kind of new normal emerging there, surely, Hormazd. And I think it's not only in India, it's world over. So even sitting in Australia, I can tell you that, as we flattened the curve for the first time and people started coming back into the market, and obviously, you're right, we are not traveling as much. We are not able to go to the interstate holidays or international holidays the way we used to. But we still want to, enjoy our time. We still want to spend some time with ourselves, with our families, and we want to travel. And people are traveling by road much more these days. So travel holidays by road is becoming very common. Also, what the pandemic taught us was a more importance or resurgence of personal mobility. I think that is coming out really, really strong, and people are believing in that space of personal mobility or individual mobility much, much more, and then accordingly buying cars. So we expect a really good rebound in India as well. I'm sure, with the festive season around the corner and post-festive season, we'll see a really good rebound in sales for cars for sure. And especially for BMW, we are excited about ourselves.
Right, and I think also, in time for the festive season is your new big launch, completely new segment, 2 Series Gran Coupe. Clearly, that I think a lot riding on that as well. It sits at the really the bottom of your range, so to speak. So in a sense, one of the more affordable models of your range. So just want to get a sense. I mean, are there a lot of volume expectations from this model? You'll be looking at newer customers as well. The other thing is, are you expecting to attract new customers to the BMW brand, people who've never owned a BMW before?
So let's talk about the Grand Coupe first, Hormazd. I think because BMW was the innovator of this segment, we created and ventured into this segment way back, similar to the way we did with the sports activity vehicle or the sports activity coupe and the Gran Turismo. So I think Grand Coupe is our artistic illustration of a four-door coupe, with the elongated silhouette or the four frameless doors, which people love. So we are entering with the 2 Series Gran Coupe for the first time in this segment, the Gran Coupe design. So, the pedigree of the 6 Series Gran Coupe or the 8 Series Gran Coupe are being taken into the 2 Series Gran Coupe. What's the expectation of this product? It's a product which is aesthetically strong. It has elegant design. It has strong driving performance. It has practicality. It has ambience, and it has that style quotient in it. What people are looking for these days. And what we are expecting is we are going to attract a lot of design-led new type of customers into our fold. People who want to come into the BMW brand and looking for a stylish sedan, which doesn't look like a standard, hatch or a sedan, which they don't want. These are the urban people, cosmopolitan people, those digital natives who want to stand out, who are extroverts. They want to create a statement for themselves. And they're looking for something a little bit more stylish, but they don't want to compromise on the design or the convenience factor either. So the Grand Coupe combines all the factors of a stylish statement that you get with the coupe design. You get a great performance with the BMW DNA itself in the 2 Series Grand Coupe. One of the most powerful engines in its class. It'll be able to deliver great power for a customer. And also at the same time, you got the convenience of all the gadgetry, the digital touch points that are there inside the car, and the convenience and the space that comes along with it. So it is going to attract the younger audience, the urban audience, the audience that wants to create a statement for themselves. So looking forward to really a diverse set of customers in that sphere.
Right. And, Vikram, raised a point that this is going to appeal to a lot of urban buyers. I mean, is this basically a car for urban markets, given the style quotient, its compactness? And what, just looking at, let's say, the smaller towns, semi-urban markets, that's also a great growth area. Maybe not so much for luxury right now, but, for generally the other segments of the market. And I think even for luxury, in a sense, there is some scope over there. So just wanted to get your sense on the growth potential of the various markets as well outside the urban areas. and the Gran Coupe, the two Gran Coupe in those markets?
So, Hormazd, I don't think urban's got anything to do with the geographical situation. It's, I think, got to do more with the mindset. So it's more about the urban mindset that people have.
Yeah.
But obviously, we know that prominently, the customer base sits in the metropolitan areas or some of the regional centers. That's what we know. Having said that, we do see a renewed demand in the rural areas, especially with the rural economy kicking in right now. That's the first economy that's coming back really strong. We can see some renewed demand in those smaller towns, surely. But we also know that in these smaller towns, people prefer the SAVs compared to the sedans much more, right? So we can see that there'll be a good combination of X1 sales that will happen in those areas. There will be a few people who will be picking up on those, the coupe designs as well. But like I said, it is on the urban mindset of those people. But I still expect the majority of sales to happen in the metropolitan area. But the growth of the overall sales, surely you're right, it's going to be in the future from those smaller towns. And that's why you see us expanding rapidly into those smaller towns. We're just opening up a new showroom in Vadodara, in Rajkot. There's more showrooms coming out even in other towns shortly, and we'll keep on expanding in those towns to capitalize on the growth potential.
And, you've launched the Gran Coupe, but also there's a huge demand for SUVs, for premium and luxury SUVs. How is it panning out, and where is the growth really coming from for BMW? Are SUVs really driving the volumes and the growth just because, they are because of the sheer appeal of them?
So we got a good balance there. I think, Hormazd, if you look at our product lineup, we got both SUVs, the sports activity vehicles, and sedans, or Gran Coupes in our entire range. So, if you pick up the 3 Series, you get a 3 Series, you can get an X3 in that same, bracket, or you can get a 5 Series or X5, and then a 7 and an X7 combination. So now you got a 2 Series Gran Coupe and also the X1 combination. So a person can really choose between either they want a sedan shape or they want a SUV shape. What we're seeing at the moment is 50%, just over 50% of our sales is on the SUV segment. Okay, so that's a good balance there. And we expect that balance to continue because I think if you look at our product offensive that we have been on for the last 12 to 18 months and which will continue over the next 24 months, clearly, we're going to have a great choice for our customers. So that power of choice strategy that we talk about, that we release worldwide, that a customer will be able to choose the body type, the fuel type, right, the transmission that they want. So we will be able to deliver every experience to our customers because we truly believe every customer set is valuable and different, and we should be able to cater to each and every one of them.
And, that's interesting. So you said 50% is SUVs. Do you expect that proportion to remain? I mean, also there's a strong, let's say, demand for sedans, Gran Coupes, and you're launching something like the 2 Gran Coupe right now. So clearly that could also add a lot to the volumes and, in terms of proportion, load it more towards the other body styles as well, other than SUVs.
Yes, so I think that'll be a good balance. I think so. What we've seen over the years, the SAV, balance has increased. So it used to be sit around 20% and it's grown to around 50% now. But with the introduction of a few more sedans, so we just introduced a new 3 Series 330i Sport. We introduced the 530i Sport in there. Now the 2 Series Gran Coupe. We expect the balance to be struck back again. So it's going to be, I think, equal shape for both of us, right? Because I think there are both sets of customers sitting there asking for these designs. And Gran Coupe is probably going to be creating a new segment. I think that's going to be more interesting to see how the growth corridor happens in that segment. Because you're right, that is the entry level of the sedan in the premium space for us. Okay, so and people are looking for something different in that space. That's why we provide a Gran Coupe design in there, because I think that will show whether there is a growth corridor in this segment or not.
Right, and just on the economics for the company on things like the Gran Coupe, clearly it's at the lower end of the market. Affordability is an issue and cost is an issue as well. Is there more of a focus on localization with these models to make them viable for launch in India? I mean, what's the strategy over there? Because clearly, you typically have fewer margins to play with, and you need the localization to get the cost benefit.
So, Hormazd, our Made in India campaign has been on for the last 12 plus years since we set up the plant Chennai. So we have been producing all the models locally. BMW 2 Series Gran Coupe happens to be the 12th model to be produced locally in plant Chennai. And we are following exactly the same template for all the models that we localize as much as possible from the start itself. So, the engine is localized, the axle is localized, some of the key components are localized, that make sure that the localization level remains very high. And we always ensure that whatever we learned from the previous model, we are able to adapt and have a fast start with the other models. So 2 Series Gran Coupe is a perfect example of that. It's already started production in Chennai. The first product has rolled out. The next lot of products roll out next month as well. So we'll continue developing this product further and make sure that it is competitive in the marketplace. And finally, it's all about the value, because we believe in the entry space, it's all about the value of the package you offer. And if you look at the package of the 2 Series Gran Coupe, it's going to be at an attractive price. It's going to have all the features. It's going to have some of the segment first features like the panoramic roof it's got, or the parking assist, which people are loving that technology, the gesture control, the live professional cockpit, a professional that we have in there, and everything else that a customer expects in a premium space. For sure.
So from what I understand in terms of localization, it's similar to the other models, the strategies followed. Yes. It's not that for this car, it's slightly higher than, let's say, a 3 Series or something like that.
No, we have been localizing all the models from day one. So I think we've been pretty consistent with our strategy of localization on that one.
Okay, and Vikram, lastly, just coming to, let's say, some of the other strategies, 3 Series, bread and butter model for you all, 3 GT is not there. Replacement plan, long wheelbase 3 Series, any comment on that?
We never comment on future products, Hormazd, you know that. Right now, it's all about the 2 Series Gran Coupe, so let's enjoy that first. And surely, yes, we are in the midst of our biggest ever product offensive, I can tell you that, in our history. And you will see a lot of exciting products coming from our stable over the next 24 months for sure.
Right. And last question, Vikram, the overall potential of the luxury car market in India, it seems to, not being growing at the pace, let's say it was expected. Also, do you find certain regulatory hurdles are there? Now there's restrictions on tires. They're talking about doing something on rims going forward. Is this really a challenge for, let's say, low volume, manufacturers? Because clearly sometimes the volume is not there to kind of justify these steps.
So, Hormazd, I think for any industry to grow, you need to have the right infrastructure, the right policy framework for it to grow, right? So if I look at it, first of all, in terms of the infrastructure, India, there's a lot of growth in the infrastructure in terms of the road network. We can see great highways, we can see great road network being created. And I think that is a great plus because when you drive such beautiful cars, you want really good roads as well, right?
And that's I have to tell you, I just drove an M8 from Delhi to Bombay, and it was just an amazing
ride. There you go. Fantastic, right? So those are the kind of experiences you want to have with these cars, right? So I think the infrastructure is one of the key catalysts for growth of this segment, I would say. So that's what people buy these cars, premium cars for, because they want to enjoy the drive, they want to enjoy the ambience, they want to enjoy the technology and the speed network in there as well. So one is that. The second part is purely about the policy. So the taxation structure, the import policies, the localization policies play an important role. And I'm really disappointed because I think I've been watching the space for a long time, and I was expecting that there would be some impetus that the government would be able to give to make sure that we have the latest technologies in the country. Because you have to remember, in premium cars or luxury cars, you get the latest technology first, be it safety, be it emission, be it even electric technologies or even the future electric technologies that are being developed right now. Those are the first ones that come into play in a luxury car segment first. And I think as Indians, we should not be deprived in any way from what we want to experience. We all travel the world. We know that. And when we travel the world, I'm sure, Hormazd, you pick up the best car and drive it overseas as well. So why we should not be able to drive a similar car in India? So I do expect, yes, those regulatory framework, be it ISI marking, or be it taxation structure, which is phenomenally high. I think it's one of the highest in the world for India, for luxury cars. They need to be looked at for allowing people to experience the latest technologies and the latest features that they need to deserve, really. So I think there is a lot of work to be done there, and that will really fuel the economy as well, because what you do is you really increase the value of industry. As you sell more valuable cars, you actually increase the value chain of the entire industry, and that fuels the economy in direct terms.
Right. And Vikram, last question, can't leave without asking the obvious question, which one has to ask, is on electrification. Clearly, even BMW, quite an early starter and adopter in this, but we've not seen full electric vehicles, let's say coming in the way we expected. Even for India, you've got some of your competitors launching them, but can we expect something from BMW on this front in India? I mean, we were hopeful of the i3 at some point, but that's not happening. Clearly, the economics and the cost benefits don't really work out. But just your thoughts on that. Yeah.
So, Hormazd, I think you're right. BMW worldwide was the pioneer and is the pioneer with electrification. Okay, so if you look at the i3, which we introduced in 2013, actually, which was way ahead of its time, and that gave us a lot of learning experience about electrification of the fleet. So we have sold a phenomenal number of i3s, and I think we've seen fantastic growth also of electrification of our cars. Even in this year, if you look at our results till September, which was just released last week, we're seeing 44% growth in electrified sales of our cars worldwide. Having said that, what this experience of i3 has given us on the i8 and all the PHEVs that we introduced in between, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, it has given us the capability to produce any powertrain on a single assembly line, right? So we as a brand have got the capability now to produce either a petrol, a diesel, a plug-in hybrid electric, or a fully electric vehicle on a single assembly line. So we will have this power of choice for our customer to choose. So I think we've declared worldwide, you know the figures there, Hormazd, that we'll be having 25 electrified products by 2023, which is just 3 years away. So in over 3 years, you will see 25 products from BMW brand and Mini brand. Out of that, half of them will be fully electric, balance of them will be plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Obviously, I want to bring all of them to India tomorrow, no doubt about it. But India needs to have a policy framework in place. It has to have a infrastructure in place for charging. So we're watching that space very carefully, and we are planning our moves to make sure we bring all these models into India as soon as we are ready as a country to accept them.
Right. And out of that, would we expect a lot coming to India?
Well, like I said, it depends on how the policy framework develops. Because, I mean, we can bring the car in tomorrow. But the only thing is there going to be enough charging network available for people to enjoy those cars? And especially, we're talking about long distance travels and things like that. You spoke about going from Mumbai to Delhi. So imagine if I gave you a iX3, for example, next year. Would love to travel from Mumbai to Delhi? You need to ensure that you have enough charging infrastructure in place in between to be able to do that. So as soon as all those aspects are in line, we would be introducing those models into the country. Because we want to make sure that when we introduce a model, our customers should be able to enjoy it, without any hassles.
Right. And Vikram, looking forward, obviously 2020 a washout. Do you expect 2021 to be much better? I mean, just looking at the way the trend is suddenly and looking at the model range you've got some really important high volume products like the 2 Gran Coupe as well. So do you think 2021 could be one of your best years going forward?
Yeah, I think clearly Hormazd 2021 would be really a really good bounce back year because of a couple of aspects. One is I think we would expect the COVID situation to be behind us by then. That's number one. Number two, like I said, as a human behavior, what we're seeing is that personal mobility is becoming even more and more important. And also spending time with your families on these traveling holidays is becoming a trend. And I think it is probably going to be the new normal for people. Instead of jumping on a flight, you will be traveling a little bit more on your cars. So you need some beautiful cars, some luxurious cars to be able to spend that time together. So that surely will give impetus to our industry. But the biggest part for us as BMW is going to be our product offensive. So like I said, with the 2 Series Gran Coupe starting now, we have the 5 Series and the 6 Series happening next year as well, and many more models next year, which will excite the market, which will bring us back really strong and performing well and growing the market again.
Well, with that, Vikram, on that note, wish you all the best for the future, and and congrats on the launch of the 2 Gran Coupe, very interesting product. Obviously, a completely new segment for you all, and I think again a lot of potential. So, thanks very much. Thanks for talking to us, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Hormazd. Always glad to be there. Thank you.
Thanks.